Hi guys! I'm going to show you how to make chocolate drips in this video. My name is Raf and welcome to Keyk Kitchen. Chocolate drips is something that I really love putting on my cakes, and I hope to guide you today on how I do it so you can be successful at home. We're actually making a ganache. It's a combination of double cream and chocolate. And when I say chocolate, it's real chocolate. We have to use and find chocolate that has cocoa butter. We're going to do two types, one with dark chocolate and one using white chocolate, which we're also going to color. I suggest putting everything that you need in front of you when you're making your ganache and applying it to your cake, because you might have to be very quick. The colder the cake, the quicker it is that the chocolate drip will set, and the quicker it sets, the quicker you have to work. I always find myself having a spatula at hand and also some kitchen towels so I can help the chocolate ganache later on to drip nicely if I need to. Let's start making the chocolate drips. I'm going to start making the dark chocolate drips because it's more simple. To make this, we need to combine 1 part chocolate and 1 part heavy cream. So I'm going to add in a heat-proof bowl 50 grams of couverture of chocolate. Now I'm just going to add the same weight of double cream, 50 milliliters. I'm going to put this in the microwave for about 15 to 20 seconds initially, take it out and then also mix it. And if it's not yet ready, I'm going to put it for another 10 seconds and then take it out and then repeat the process until I get to the consistency I'm looking for. I recognize that not everyone has a microwave at home, so if you don't have one, don't worry. You can put this on top of a bain-marie on medium heat while the chocolate's melting, and you just have to mix or stir it as it melts. The other way to do it is to put the double cream on a pan, heat it until it's just about to boil, and then pour it on the chocolate and let it melt. I find that the microwave is the easiest and the quickest way to do it, so I'm just going to do that. One thing to notice when you use the microwave, I have mine at 800 watts maximum, but I only ever use 50% of the power when I'm making my ganache. You don't want to burn your chocolate, especially when you're using chocolate with a lot of cocoa butter. It can easily split and it's over. There's no turning back when it's split, I don't think, so you'd have to do it again. Just be careful, that's why we're doing it at short intervals at a time. You also don't want to mix it vigorously, you just want to have enough movement because you don't want to have a lot of air bubbles on the ganache. When you're doing this, make sure that all the chocolate bits are melted. You don't want like bits of chocolate, like hard chocolate on your drip. But you also don't want to put it too much in the microwave because when it's too hot, it can split and it won't be nice. When I'm testing if it's the right consistency, I like putting it on the edge of the bowl to see how it will drip. And I think that's the best way to know if it's ready. If you put it on the side of the bowl and it's dripping nice and slowly, even without the help of your cold cake, then it's ready. Some people apply their drips with a spoon. I'm going to use a piping bag. I find that this gives me the most control. If you have a big jar, you can put your piping bag like this and just pour all your chocolate in. You can see the consistency, it's flowing, but it's not that thin. I always try to tie the knot at the end because we don't really want the chocolate to go on the other side. I'm pouring some hot water in a jug next to me where I can dip my spatula. Hot water will just help transfer heat if we need some help later when the chocolate has already set. Hopefully we don't, but it's always handy. When I touch this, it's not really warm anymore, it's almost room temperature. I'm also going to cut off the end because sometimes it might do that to the cake and it's gonna destroy it. Okay. We're going to snip off some parts of it, not too big. And we're going to try if the consistency is perfect. how it folds. I'm happy with that, so I'm just gonna continue now. You don't have to put all the chocolate on the top because you don't want to push so much weight to the sides that you end up pushing more and making it look ugly. So you only really need enough, and you can use your spatula to spread it nice and evenly. I'm actually quite happy with that. Now that we have this, we can let it set for 10 to 15 minutes at room temperature first. Help it set a little bit before putting in the fridge so it doesn't get shocked. When you shock your chocolate with such a big temperature difference, it might crack, and you don't want cracked chocolate drips. I'm going to set this aside, clean up, and also then show you how to make a white chocolate drip. Now it's time to make our white chocolate drip. It will be very similar to how we did it earlier, but with some key changes. One of them is that the ratio is different. If we were using a 1:1 ratio earlier, 1 part heavy cream and 1 part chocolate, we're going to use a 2:3 ratio this time. 2 parts heavy cream and 3 parts white chocolate. I'm using couverture chocolate again, and I think mine is at 28.5 cocoa solids. When you melt white chocolate, you will see that it will be mucky and it will be yellow, and it's not really looking nice. And what I tend to do is to whiten it with something called titanium dioxide. You will see the quantities that we'll be using on the description box below. To color white chocolate, I would always suggest using oil-based food coloring, or you can also use powder coloring for this one. Not all food coloring will pair well with chocolate because of the high fat content. It might split and it won't look good. You can try with the other coloring that you have, but what I can say is what works for me is oil food coloring. So we're now going to put 60 grams of white chocolate. And then I'm going to put 40 ml of heavy cream. Just gonna stir it, make sure the chocolate's covered. Same process, we're going to put it for 15-20 seconds to begin with. Take it out, stir it, and see if it's melted. If it's not all melted, put it in for 5 to 10 seconds intervals and just repeat the process until you have all your white chocolate melted. As you can see, the white chocolate has turned yellow. And when it's all melted, that's when we can add the coloring and the titanium dioxide. I'm just gonna put half a teaspoon of this. And I always start with 1 or 2 drops. It really depends on you on how you want it, but I always find like 2 drops should be sufficient. You can try to mix this, but you will see later on that it won't really combine and emulsify. And you will have bits and pieces of the titanium dioxide, which is not really something nice, and you don't want that showing on your drip. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to bring my friend, the hand blender, and I'll put it here and blitz it for a couple of seconds. When we're doing this, just make sure that it's completely submerged because we don't want air bubbles in the ganache. Putting the chocolate on top, you want to make sure that you're just putting the right amount. You don't want to finish everything all in one go, because the heavier the weight or the thicker the layer of chocolate you have on top, the more that you risk that it will push its weight onto the sides and ruin your drips. I'm very happy with the cake. I'm going to put this at room temperature for 10 to 15 minutes before I put it in the fridge. So that's it from me and my chocolate drips. I'm very happy with how they turned out, and I hope you found this video useful. I'm looking forward to decorating more cakes with you and also baking more yummy stuff together. So don't be shy and click on that subscribe button to support me on my channel. If you have any questions, feel free to write them on the comments box below and I will try my best to respond. I hope to see you next time. Thank you. Bye bye.